It's 10:43 a.m. April 8th, 2025. There's my cat Lucky. He's trying. See, this is my cat Lucky. I call him Buddy. That's my cat Lucky. I'm in the shed here, half-mile north of Fairbank on V68. My cat Lucky wanting to get into my F-350. There's my scarred finger. My cat Lucky. And April 8th, 2025. And it's 10:43 a.m. I changed the date on here again since I think April 2nd. I had this paper. So since x.com/WADES2ND, youtube.com/@ WADEALANHEINEMNMN. Never been to Florida, not left Iowa in months, not worked for anyone since 2018. Still the truth. x.com/WADES2ND. I've been posting a lot about my, let's say the time again, 10:43 a.m., April 8th, 2025. My cat, Lucky. He's the one I call Buddy, good boy. You know, you're my friend. I talk to him like a pet. He's a good pet. I don't want him in here right now because I have some fish in here that I went and got at Dollar General just a little bit ago. So I was gone about 25 minutes to go to Dollar General and get cat food because the cats were all begging me for food. But I've been posting a lot about my physics theories here, and I'll do 10.7-inch hand here. He's going to try and get in again. He's probably going to fall off that ledge because he's done that before. It's all right, buddy. He can't come in right now. I fed him. He's got food out there. But I've been posting a lot about my physics theories and probably 10, 12 posts since April 4th. And nobody's telling me what to do. As indicated a puppet master. That would be a liar. Using surveillance to try and steal my ideas, whoever it is. I have no connection to anybody. I'm not AI. I'm not a robot. I'm not a computer. I'm Wade Allen Heineman, born 11/4/71 in Iowa, USA. Male, always, never been LGBTQIA. What I've been posting about today is the gravitation of the calculation for gravitation of quanta, the basic components of matter and energy. And I'm saying that it is not significant in calculating gravity, which, physicists shouldn't be concerning themselves with it because in the spiral arms of a galaxy, gravity is spread out and dominated by stars and planets, obviously, and also things like rain and gases. They have more gravitational attraction than the individual quanta. So these are the basic components of everything. So they're the lightest things that there are, number one. They're spread out everywhere. And in my theory, they're in a sea of ether, which is no momentum light particles or no momentum photons. Then the leftover masses as light as both the particle and wave, as both Einstein and Richard Feynman both agreed that. And Isaac Newton said it was a a particle as well, a corpuscle. I can't remember what terminology he used, but he also believed it was a mass. And if you take E equals mc squared, it guarantees that everything that has energy has a mass, and a photon has energy. Therefore, it has mass. And I know many a physicist has overlooked that, but that's what that guarantees. E equals mc squared guarantees that photons have mass, albeit we can't detect it because it's so small when it's not in motion. It's floating around and I believe getting packed in as an ether in centers of mass such as galaxies and solar systems and stars and planets. So all of this quanta is submerged in a sea of ether of no momentum light particles or no momentum photons. So all of that, when you take an individual quanta and you're trying to measure its gravitational attraction, it is submerged in a sea of ether, number one, which all has mass, the no momentum photon particles. And it is also submerged in a gravitational field dominated by sun, stars, planets, water, gases, etc. So the gravitational attraction outward from that quanta is going to be either greater than what that quanta is, trying to pull in. And it's also spread out. It's either greater or equivalent. It has reached an equivalency around it. And that gravitational attraction is also spread out. So it's spread out throughout the spiral arms of the galaxy, which have basically become homogeneous, like a gas that is released into a box. It will create the density will be equivalent throughout the box. The gravitational attraction in general is equivalent, been made equivalent throughout the spiral arms of the galaxy, at least in the areas of where the quanta is located. That that area would be, the gravitational attraction would be equivalent, being pulled in all directions about the same by all of the different masses that are within that area. And the spiral arms of the galaxy rotate around the black hole at the same rate. It all rotates like it's a solid disk. So it's rotating like it's one solid object. So it's all that gravitational attraction between all the different stars and such have locked in, and I call that collective gravity of the spiral arms of the galaxy, in my theory from 2015, my theory of the universe from 2015. But that's what I was talking about first, is that why there's no sense in trying to calculate the quantum gravity, even though, they feel like to have the standard model complete, that's what they need. They're probably going to have to go out in space in order to calculate that. And maybe they have already, I don't know. But it's not going to be significant in tying gravitation together between the standard model and general relativity, or whatever model you're using for large objects as compared to quanta. It's not going to be a significant connection there. It's kind of like the cutoff between the event horizon of a black hole inside the black hole and outside the black hole. There's a division there that in physics that is just there. It's the same thing, I believe, you can say with the difference between quantum gravity and general relativity gravity, or classic gravity, or whatever you want to call it. There's just a difference that it's not going to make sense to try to connect the two, because quanta inside the spiral arms of a galaxy don't have any significant impact on their surroundings. I believe they're basically in their little worlds that way. One of the other things I said is that Einstein's calculations say that there's a singularity in the black hole, and what I said is that the axis of what did I say? The axis of a vortex. I was going to say whirlpool, but a vortex that goes two directions. It is a two-directional vortex, I believe, at the center of a black hole. And if you take the axis of that vortex, it is the same thing as a singularity if you map out a singularity. It's the center of that vortex is an axis which basically extends out to forever. And when you have a quasar, it is being released upon around that axis, around that center axis. That's what I'm saying on that. Let's see, what else did I address? I readdressed the E equals mc squared, that that photon must have mass. I said that years ago already now. So if someone else is trying to take credit for that, I said that years ago already on my X account, one of my X accounts. And I was just reiterating it in a clearer way of why, because light has energy. Therefore, E equals mc squared, energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. So you have to have a positive value on the mass for it to have any energy. And as we all know, light has energy. The light is made of photons. Therefore, photons must have energy. Therefore, photons must have mass. And therefore, when photons lose their energy, they still have mass. And that is what I proposed that our ether is made up of, is packed in no momentum light photons. And that's why the two-slit experiment is the way it is. And this is going to be difficult to try and explain. And in a tweet, I tried to explain it in a tweet, and I think I tried to put too much into the tweet, and it got a little confused. But basically, the packed-in light photons explain why the two-slit experiment is the way it is with photons. And I believe with electrons as well, because I think the packed in no momentum light photons that compose the ether, that are packed into everything in our atmosphere, outside the Earth as well, and within our solar system. And it becomes less dense as you get away from the centers of mass, such as Earth or the Sun or our galaxy. As the further you go out from the centers of mass, the less dense the ether is going to be. The less of those leftover light particles from light that has lost its energy, has gone down from light to infrared, down to microwave, and then finally lost all its momentum. There's going to be less. It's going to be less dense as you get away from, say, Earth, or you get away from the sun. There's going to be less dense ether. So the ether is variable in thickness and in density. The further you get away from whatever center of mass you're talking about, but it's going to be very dense in the two-slit experiments because you're in the bottom of the Earth's atmosphere. You're right, within 6 feet of it. We stand about 6 feet tall or 5 feet tall or however tall you are. And we're doing these experiments in the ether, in the very thick ether. So when those light particles go through those two slits, they're hitting all of those, they're transferring their energy from one piece of ether to the next. That's all through the atmosphere. That's how light is, getting, my brain is not working the best. I was hit with energy attacks this morning again. I was in severe pain until a little bit ago. I ate something that kind of helped. But that's how light is refracted through the atmosphere because it is going through an ether. And I mean, you also have water and other gases, which help spread the light out as well. But the ether does that too. And the ether is spreading out those light waves as they go through the two slits. And it takes quite a bit of an imagination to figure out how that they're spreading as they go through there. I said like water waves. It's similar to water waves because there's interference, but it's also different because it's kind of like I said before. It's kind of like comparing a whirlpool, a gravity-dominated vortex, which would be a whirlpool in water, compared to a quasar, which is a non-gravity or a very non-gravity dominated system, because you're going in two directions. With a quasar, there is no gravitation involved. It's going two different directions. But in a whirlpool, it's going one direction towards Earth, or however you set up the gravitational in a whirlpool. But those are basically the things I've been talking about. Why you don't need to connect, quantum gravity to classic or Einstein's model. And again, Einstein's model of the universe is exactly that, and he called it that, or he referred to it as not nature too. He referred to it basically as a model of the universe, which it is. And if you take the graph of Einstein's space-time, it looks very much like a contour map of, say, pressure, the air pressure in weather. You take a weather pressure map, air pressure map, it looks very similar to what Einstein has for his space-time images. And, it's not that gravity warps space and time. It's that gravity is a different value in different parts of space, just like air pressure is different in different parts of space. So the model works great for science and for calculating things, but you can't confuse it with reality. Einstein didn't do that, but a lot of physicists confuse Einstein's theory or Einstein's model with reality. It is a model. It's a model that works very well. The only thing I would add to it is that light loses energy through space, and possibly another tweak, which I don't want to get into right now, but that light loses energy through an average distance of space and through an average distance of any medium, obviously, but space not being vacant, but being filled with crisscrossing light waves, other electromagnetic spectrum waves, gas, dust, and gravity. It is not a vacuum, but it does take a long, long time for light to dissipate from light to ultraviolet to infrared, or from ultraviolet to light to infrared to microwave, and then to lose all energy and become part of an ether with that leftover mass from the photon that is proven by E equals MC squared. It is April 8th, 2025. Wade Allen Heineman, again, for youtube.com/@WadeAllenHemanMan. And I'll say one time that Einstein didn't get everything 100% right, and I won't get everything 100% right, but I think 90% of what I have put forth is right. And I don't, I may not know exactly what my little errors are at this point, or big ones, but every physicist in the history of the world has not been correct about everything. unless they put forth one idea and it was correct or something like that. They, we're not infallible, but I believe a large part of what I've put forth is correct, and I have pretty good confidence in everything I said just now. Never been in the military, never been married, not been on a plane or jet since 2011. I have 10.7-inch hands. I'm 6'1", 53 years old, born 11/4/71. Wade Allen Heineman is my name. Never any connection to Elon Musk or any other famous person. All my ideas are my own. Anybody says they're my puppet master, they're probably just because I'm singing songs that are on my YouTube feed, and it's because they're my favorite songs. So if somebody's claiming that they're telling me what to sing or what to say, it's just due to surveillance and stuff I've said before. Some of the stuff, again, on my physics theories I've said before, and some of it is new, like the axis of the vortex being like the my brain again not working. I said it before, like I'm just going to refer back to what I said before because my brain is not working on full tilt right now, but I'm still trying to think of the word. The center of the black hole, you have I said it before. Just refer back to what I said before. But again, I'm not a full-time physicist. When I have light bulb moments like I had since the 4th, nobody's telling me what to think. I've been doing this my whole life. When I started writing poems when I was 20 years old, soon after that I started writing poems about science. So still doing it. And I started writing my theories in 2015, but I had written stuff about those theories since about the 1999-2000. So signing off, April 8th, 2025, Wade Allen Heineman.